Hi, my name is Watson and I am the optimization and as well as the artist manager of Creators. Welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to explain to you how to export GLTF from Substance Painter. Before we start working with exporting and stuff like that, we need to understand exactly what Substance Painter do when it exports as GLTF. When you go to File and go to Export Textures, and when you select your preset, that is GLTF preset, and if you just go to the texture set and just open one of the options, you will understand that there are three kinds of textures that has been exported from one shader. The first one is base color, the second one is occlusion, roughness and metallic, and the other one is normal. Now these two are obvious, but let us go to an in-depth understanding of what this really happens, what this texture is really been done by Substance Painter. You can see that your metallic information, roughness information and occlusion informations are all together merged as one texture. So if you're having an AO map, that means ambient occlusion map, which has different information, and as well as you have another information on roughness and metallic, all these three informations are put together as one texture and has been exported. This is the basic understanding of what really happens over here. Sometimes when you export from Substance Painter, the ambient occlusion is already been been written on the map that you're exporting. So if you don't have any ambient occlusion information, then what happens is that it just exports it as a white information. The map is white, so sometimes you might get some artifacts in C3D. So how can we deal with that? It's very simple. I've already have an ambient occlusion setting over here, but let's say that I didn't give an information on the shader regarding ambient occlusion. So I go to this plus button and I say ambient occlusion. After selecting ambient occlusion, go to your texture, to your layers, and select your layer and go to your brush properties and select ambient occlusion and bring it all the way to black. It depends on, for this kind of an asset, it's okay for me to have a black ambient occlusion, because there is no need of ambient on this asset. But you might have your own map. When you're having your own map, that's no problem at all. Okay, so for every texture set list, for all the shaders, you should individually insert an ambient occlusion setting. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that if you're having 10 or 15 shaders, then that means you must do this procedure 15 times. In all these shaders, I have already given an individual ambient occlusion settings, and I have brought them all to black because I don't need ambient occlusion for this asset. So let me just go through. Okay, this shader doesn't have an ambient occlusion, so let me just do that. And this also, just going through so that let's see the glass. Okay, the glass doesn't have, so I better have an ambient occlusion for that too. Bring it all the way black, and this guy also. So let me just close it down. Okay, so now it's perfectly fine. I need to do a small change over here, that is on my one of my shaders. I just need to So my model is not so good, but for demo purposes, I go to file and export my textures. This is quite obvious because this is related to the shaders that has been given. So I have like around 6 to 7 shaders over here, and all those informations are given. So you can find like tons of information regarding this on YouTube. So I've selected my folder and everything is there, and I'm just saying export. Okay, now I'm in my folder and you can see that all the textures have been exported. Each shader has it's all 3 textures as we spoke before, but I want to like focus on these 3 files. Why 3 files? You have to understand that when Substance Painter uses the GLTF preset, it exports 2 kinds of file. The first one is GLB and the other one is GLTF. So take GLTF as a way of like OBJ. OBJ has its information on the OBJ file, and it exports another bin called, or you don't call it bin actually, it exports another file called MTL, right? So something quite close to that, but it's a little bit different over here. In GLTF it exports a thing called bin, okay, and then with that it also exports the GLTF file. How do I know this? Because it's by heart, I've been using it, but you can like right click and go to properties and you can find out what file is it. Okay, so by default GLTF file is around like 2 KB, it's really small, and the bin has like the asset, the model. So the model is around like 1.3 KB. That's 1.3 MB. So these 2 are connected. So when you're exporting as GLTF, you have to remember that you must have a bin file and as well as the GLTF referring file. Okay, so this is very important. The other thing is GLB. This is a GLB file because I know it because of the size of the file. Okay, so if you're exporting as a GLB, then you delete these 2 and then just export the texture with the GLB file. Okay, so for this purpose I'm using GLTF, so I'm just going to delete my GLB file. To prove to you that it's a GLB file, just going to go to properties, show you it's a GLB file. Okay, so I'm going to just delete that, we don't need that, and I'm just selecting everything and go to export, send, right click, send, and compress. Okay, now I'm going to my creators, go to select source, format, and GLB. Doesn't matter about viewing, select the viewer, it's no problem at all. And I select my file and upload to the creators. Okay guys, welcome back after like 1 minute, less than 1 minute of uploading time. The model is quite okay. We have given the there is metallic map and all those things, but we see that it's not actually working so good on the viewer because there's nothing to reflect on. We need an HDRI map to make it like reflective. So in creators we have this option called scene. In the scenes you have all kinds of options to like control your HDRI map. Creators have given us a couple of like presets to work on, so you can choose any of them. For this procedure it should be like white, right? According to the reference that has been given, it should be white, so I would go for a white HDRI texture, and as well as give it some blurriness. Yeah, it's looking good right now. There are yes, and yep. Okay, I hope this tutorial have helped you in some kind of a way. If you still have questions, if there is anything that is not working after following this tooth, please talk with your supervisor and see what you can do. Remember that we are always there for you. Okay, and thank you for watching. Have a good day. God bless.